This tutorial will describe the general usage of the MH-60 Romeo Lamps helicopter. It will briefly describe all stations on the MH-60 and how to successfully operate those stations in conjunction with the nav map screen. For detailed information on the MH-60 and all other components of the game, we encourage you to consult the manual. This is the navigation station. The nav screen displays the 2D geosit plot and the 3D view window. In the upper left corner of the screen is the DDI, Digital Display Indication, which provides information on the selected contact. Right-click menus allow the player to control many of the game's functions from this station. The toolbar at the bottom of the screen is available at every station. The features and functions of the navigation station are fully described in a separate breakout tutorial. The pilot station is where the player controls the movement of the helo. Launching off chaff and flare countermeasures is also controlled from this station. With the autopilot engaged, course changes can be made by selecting a new course on the compass, and speed altitude changes can be made via the toolbar. Disengage the autopilot in order to fly the helo using a joystick control.
Changing speed 149 knots.
The ATO, Air Tactical Officer Station, is where the player can launch sonobuoys and weapons and controls the deployment of the MAD sensor and dipping sonar. When the autopilot is engaged, the ATO can control the direction the helo will fly by placing a fly-to waypoint, or select the type of sonobuoy to launch and select a location to place the sonobuoy. The ATO also controls the selection, setting of preset parameters, and launching of weapons. The ATO also controls the data link to the mothership FIG, the platform that the helo launched from. The ATO selects whether to send acoustic or radar data, or whether the helo or the ASTAC onboard the FIG controls the placement of fly-to waypoints. The acoustic station displays the sonobuoy processor. This is where the player analyzes the acoustic data being gathered by the deployed sonobuoys in order to detect, identify, and determine the position of both surface and subsurface platforms. A detailed description of this station is presented in the sonobuoy breakout scenario. The radar station is where the player controls the onboard radar sensor. The radar sensor will provide both bearing and range information to detected contacts. Contacts marked on the radar display will appear on the navigation screen and also on the tactical display in the cockpit. The MAD ESM Magnetic Anomaly Detection Electronic Support Measures station displays the magnetic distortion recorder on the top of the screen and the ESM radar intercept display on the bottom of the screen. The magnetic distortion recorder will detect the distortion of the Earth's magnetic field caused by large metal objects. The trace labeled MAD. The trace labeled SAD, Submarine Anomaly Detection, also displays magnetic field distortions, but is tuned to respond to submarines only. The ESM display will display the bearing to intercepted radar signals. Moving the cursor onto a signal will display the emitter name and classes of platforms that carry that emitter. The dipping sonar station shows the active-passive displays associated with the dipping sonar. The dipping sonar hydrophone deployment and retrieval is controlled by the ATO from the cockpit. In the passive mode, the player uses the bottom display to perform a bearing search. The narrowband line signature of any detected contacts are shown in the upper display, which can be used to help classify the detected contact. In the active mode, the player picks a range scale and single or continuous ping. Any detected contacts can be marked, and their bearing and range will be displayed on the navigation station and in the tactical display in the cockpit. This concludes our general MH-60 tutorial. Please consult the manual for a more detailed description of how to use the MH-60 stations and tactics to employ those stations successfully in the game.
1-6